I'm the owner of Cafe 19.
All right, tell me a little bit about where we're sitting. Obviously, a lot of people know about Cafe 19, but what is it?
So we're a small cafe in the heart of Seneca Falls, and our theme here, as you can see from the pictures on the wall, is women's rights. We have suffragists from the women's rights movement adorning our walls. We put a lot of effort into the quality of the food and beverages that we serve using local products, and you should stop in and try it sometime if you haven't.
Absolutely, and I mean, it really, why is it important to, I'm getting off topic, but why is it important, I guess just as an introduction, to work with local, I guess, vendors or providers?
Well, it's nice to build those relationships with people in your local area who are sort of working towards the same goal as you, is serving good quality products to people and caring about. We put so much effort and care into the product that we make that it makes sense to also work with other people who do the same.
And so, but the restaurant business, I mean, restaurant, cafe, the food industry, and owning a place like this, it's traditionally a challenging industry.
Yes.
Like the restaurant business is tough.
Yep.
So it starts out being tough. Like it's the baseline, right?
Yep.
And then you kind of throw into the mix. You're a bakery, and you have all these beautiful baked goods that I can't wait to try after this interview. But I mean, how are you doing that with the price of eggs being astronomical?
Well, it's definitely challenging. There's really only two options. You either have to cut your portion sizes or, raise your prices. And those are really the only options that you've got when inflation happens. And it's been happening a lot lately.
Yeah, it has. Mm-hmm. Well, what have you done?
Mm-hmm. Well, we will have to raise our prices on some of our baked goods. And some of the desserts, we try to make things without eggs.
That's what you're doing? You try to be creative?
Yep, be creative, not use as many eggs and things. Like we've got some vegan and gluten-free options that don't need eggs. And just, be creative. You can make lots of good things without using eggs too. So we are trying to cut back on the use of them.
You know what's interesting is for quite a while, a chunk of my life, I was vegan, and I remember when baking there was always like a mixture that you could make of an egg substitute. I think it was like applesauce and flax or something. Mm-hmm. What do you know about what that is?
I've never used applesauce to make it. It's called a flax egg, and it's just
flax egg?
Flax seed, and you can also use chia seeds and mixed with water, and it has a similar effect to an egg in a baked good recipe. You can also make macarons. This is weird, but with it's called aquafaba, and it's like the liquid from chickpeas, canned chickpeas. You can use that and whip that up and make macarons out of it, because it acts similar to egg whites when you whip them.
That's so cool, though.
Yeah.
See, I don't think that's weird. That's like crazy cool.
It's fascinating what you can do with foods. I mean, it's just fascinating.
Well, yeah, and especially so you're getting creative.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I mean, you have to, because you're adapting.
Yep. Well, I like to say this sometimes, but even, during COVID, things got difficult, and I didn't go into business to go out of business. So you have to get creative in what you do to keep the doors open. I have, employees who rely on the business working to keep them employed, and that's very important to me. And I'm, going to do whatever it takes to make sure that everybody stays here, and
Yeah, people are relying on this place for sure.
Yep.
And I mean, it is, and it's good that you think about stuff like that, and it's so cool to see the creative aspect of it. But so when did it start becoming like an issue? Like, when did it start to really get like, oh my God, we're gonna lose a lot of money now because of eggs?
The eggs in particular, I noticed the increase about a month ago.
Okay.
It was really bad. I ordered 3 cases of eggs, and the cases of eggs have 30 dozen eggs in them, and it was $400 to get, and that's what we're going through in 1 week. So I was like, holy cow. Yeah. It's a lot.
$400 a week. That's like a carb. That's a carb baby.
Yeah. Yep. It's
but in a
hard
week
to stomach, but even not just the bakery, but we serve a lot of breakfast here, so omelets and breakfast sandwiches and all that stuff. So we use the eggs for a lot of stuff. So
is there a way to work around eggs in the breakfast? Not really. You
not-
kind of need eggs.
Yeah, not really. The avocado toast, but we still put eggs on that.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, so, but yeah, oatmeal. But most people don't want to eat oatmeal every day.
No.
It's good for you, but no, most people don't want to eat it every
It
day.
is very good for
Yeah.
you. Okay, so I guess talk about how things are going. So, like, how are you coping with that now with the $400 a week situation? Did you change how many you ordered because you're being creative to try to come up with ways to have other options?
So I'm looking for other ways to cut costs too, because some of the purveyors are expensive, you know, some of the, like, because not everything comes from local purveyors. We try to get as much as we can from local purveyors, but still have to use Cisco, you know, for some stuff.
Got to be like a combination usually.
Exactly.
In most situations, it's like a compromise. Like, you wish you could use all local,
Right.
but it's just maybe not reasonable.
Right, like I can't get vegetable oil locally. You know,
Right.
there's just some things like that, or our paper products for our to-go food and our pastry boxes. Like, I can't get those local, so it's just researching and sourcing places where I can get a good quality product for cheaper than I was getting it before. And just cutting costs everywhere they can.
And so that's kind of what you've been doing.
Yep.
So, in terms of, like, I guess, how does, when something like this happens, when, like, some price of some good that is used in your everyday business skyrockets, what's, like, the emotional toll that it takes on you as a business owner? Like, how does that, is it very stressful?
It's definitely stressful. It's hard to stomach, but you know, we face challenges every day, whether it's, you know, the prices going up, or an order getting messed up, or just something you baked didn't come out right. You know what I mean? Like, it's a constant battle to just, you know, move forward and just figure out how to make it work.
And that's what you've been doing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so, in terms of other things, like, I guess breakfast, do people have the prices of some of the breakfast items had to go up because of the egg situation?
Well, we only change our prices when we update our menu twice a year. So right now they haven't gone up. So again, it's really just where can we cut expenses in other places to make up for that.
So where can you? I mean, you said you're looking at, like, where paper goods come from and
Yeah,
stuff?
that's something I just did. I started ordering my to-go boxes and cake boxes from a new company, and they're significantly cheaper than what I was paying for before. You know what? Even though it's difficult because the price of eggs goes up, there's always something positive you can get out of it, and that is it forcing you to look at what you're spending in other places. You know, I may not have looked at what the price of the boxes were for another 2 or 3 months had the egg price not gone up, and I needed to figure out how to, you know, make up the difference there. So
Right, but you guys, I mean, I've eaten here so many times, and I know that, like, part of the, I think, from what I can perceive, is, like, you really like the quality to be there from every level. So, like, the boxes are a really nice touch. Like, they're not your typical, like, plastic weird
Yes.
things that you have to do the edges. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
They're boxes, and they're earthy, and I feel like it's part of the vibe here. So I feel like for you, it's probably a little difficult because you don't want to sacrifice quality for your people because...
And that's the thing. I was able to find boxes very similar to the ones that we're using.
There you go.
That were just a lot cheaper. So
You just had to do the work.
exactly.
Which you already have a ton of work to do here, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess other than that, you answered all of my questions. I think you shed some light onto kind of like what I'm sure a lot of bakeries are going through.
Yeah.
Anything else that you'd like to add, or anything that you think people should know about your business, or about kind of anything else that's going on?
Well, even though, you know, it's difficult with prices rising, there's still, like, we're still very successful and appreciative of the customers that we do have, and we actually were just able to do an expansion to our bakery, so we have a whole new room for our baking so that we can produce even more deliciousness for people to enjoy.